I think that we can establish that all of the New Testament documents are from the first century, and that we can see that from, obviously we have second century manuscripts, and most of the Old Testament we have quotations by the early second century of parts of the New Testament. So it needs to be in place by then. We don't have exact dates on when the Gospels were written, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. There are various theories about their relationship, but I think they all seem to be first century documents. Now, some people say, why have those four Gospels? Why not have some other Gospels? And I think the answer there is that these four Gospels were the ones that are most connected with the earliest time of the Christians. Other things come along a lot later. People say, who chose the Gospels? And I'd say, who chose the winner in the Olympic marathon? I think it was the fact that one was so far out front that actually makes them the winner. You couldn't say the judges chose the winner unless it was a photo finish. And in the same way, I think the four Gospels were so out front in terms of their credentials that there wasn't a question really of people choosing them. So when we look at southern Egypt, there's a manuscript there from there, which is now in Dublin, which has the four Gospels from around the year 225. In Syria, you've got a man called Tatian who has the four Gospels, writing around the year 175. And in France, you have Irenaeus writing around the year 185, saying that having the four Gospels is like having four winds, four cardinal directions. So here we've got southern Egypt, Syria, and France all having four Gospels when there is no central Christian power. And so what that means is this isn't a committee decision that gives you the four Gospels, it's rather actually the credentials of these documents themselves. With the letters, what we have going on is we have collections of letters that are made quite early on. So in 2 Peter, there's a reference to letters, plural of Paul, suggesting these things are seen as a collection. So I think it could have been that Paul or a close associate actually collected his letters. There would be collections of public letters as well as private letters. So 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy and Titus would be private letters that take a little bit longer to circulate. 3 John is also a private letter. And that's why, by the way, those are the 4 documents in the New Testament that take a little bit longer to circulate. Other letters that might be an individual letter like Philemon is still a public letter because it's written to Philemon but carbon copied to the church eldership around him. So what we find is that you can trace how these things circulate. To some extent, there are still unanswered questions, but there is a batching together and grouping of documents such that they lend credibility to each other.